Hello everyone! Hey! I welcome you to a beautiful little game called XIII, a first-person shooter in comic style from 2003. My name is Davdus. I have been a runner for this game since 2013. You see what I did there with that name, but that is actually true. And I'm happy to bring it to you today on ESA Stream 2. The first couple missions have quite a couple of cutscenes, so we can start right in and I will start explaining anything else right after we start the time, which will happen as soon as I load into the first level in 3, 2, 1, now. So, as you can see, we can count the polygons on each and every human on this earth, but yeah, again, this is a game... yeah, around 6 polygons, that's about right. I've mentioned before, this is a first-person shooter in comic style. It is based on a comic novel, older than this game, obviously. I don't remember when it came out, but it is called Number 13, and the whole story of this game is based upon this original visual comic that was very successful in the US. And this game as well was successful enough that it actually, as mentioned before in the crowd, got a remake just not too long ago, and that is also the reason why this game is playable again today. For the longest time, 13 was not obtainable, and the only way to actually play this game is buy it from anyone who has bought it before. With 2021, you are actually able to buy this game right now on Steam for $5. This game has never been more accessible than this day. There will be a lot of missions to cover in here. In total, we have 34 missions to play through in a linear fashion chronologically to end this run. Any percent meaning that I can freely choose the difficulty in which I play. There are no other restrictions whatsoever. We are playing on the easiest difficulty, arcade. Nevertheless, I will be, more often than not, very close to death. Especially if I mess up, which I will definitely do that. We start off this first mission where we actually do something, beat you 2, with one precise shot. As soon as I gain control here, I pick up a throwing knife, headshot through the door, some little maneuvering through the room, and then we can continue onwards to what you will see as the basis of movement, which is just running forward. That whenever we are on flat surfaces, flat ground, this is all we can really do. As soon as slopes are getting involved in later levels in the game, movement will become a lot more technical. Until then, it is very much simple to learn, hard to master WASD sort of movement, where I have to cut corners as efficiently as possible and go the direct lines as best as I can. There is actually quite a lot of nuance in learning movement in this game, even if it's just running around corners. There is a world of a difference between a... That is one hell of a kill. There is a world of a difference between a world record... a world record level of movement versus an amateur like I guess I am at this point. I fully respect the world record run of this day made by Der Kenster, where even the most basic movement in the very first levels of this game, where not a whole lot is going on, is absolutely optimized to the point of no return. It is beauty for a runner and probably looks like nothing if you have no idea what to look for. For the basic story of this game, I won't have too much time to talk about it, but we are a gentleman apparently called Number 13 by our enemies that try to kill us. This is a very much Agent Bond-like secret agent, secret identity sort of story where we have to uncover the hidden truth behind our identity as we've lost amnesia, and also the hidden organization who tries to hunt us down and also throw over the government as we speak. There is a lot of history to cover as well regarding the speedrun community of this game and the story of how all of this route actually is formed in this day. For example, this trick that I am doing right now, I have jumped at this wall at a very specific timing right before this flashback started. If I did that right, I will phase through the wall even before the bomb has exploded and opened the wall up. This is a trick called bomb jump, which dates all the way back to 2008, the first recorded run of 13 made by the Spectrum and Moana brothers in a segmented speedrun. I have made the jump correctly, we have phased through the wall. Apparently I am not able to climb ladders though, that is not possible. This first actual gameplay level is in fact or what is supposed to be a stealth level. It is supposed to teach you ways to knock opponents down immediately before they can actually see you. One of these ways is punching them in the back, resulting in a slap to the neck, as is done in GoldenEye. And we can also pick up random or specifically placed objects, which are one-hit kill, knockdown weapons that I can use once until they break, as you can see right here. These cops cannot be killed with anything other than these two weapons, because actually killing them would be a bad guy's move, and we are definitely the good guys here. I will shoot in a very specific spot through this window. There is actually a small gap in that window to shoot that man as he is opening the door to actually unlock a door that shouldn't be unlocked. Normally you would have to wait for a very long time for that NPC to move, but by shooting him through that window into the leg, he first of all doesn't die, and second of all immediately opens two doors at the same time, letting me move fast enough to actually knock out an important NPC that we should meet 20 missions later. He is now lying on the ground, sobbing on the floor, apparently also not remembering that we have done that later on in the missions, when we actually are supposed to meet him. Other than that, this rest of this mission, we might see it again. There is a very small chance that a bug occurs that will guarantee a death at the end of this mission, and I will come to it soon. For now, I will do some clean movement down these stairs, drop down this ladder down here, and hope that I don't die. We have successfully survived. That probably looked like absolutely nothing, but you will have noticed that I have taken 40 fall damage. There is a bug in this game, occurring once every 5 times, sort of, where you take triple fall damage for no reason whatsoever. 40 times 3, not good at math, but I think that's our life, even if it's at full. So that random fall damage bug can kill us immediately in the second level of this game, and there will even be more opportunities later in the game where we will take guaranteed fall damage to be fast. If that fall damage bug occurs, we will die off of that. So there is a random chance every time I drop that I will drop dead immediately. We hope that won't happen, but it would be very funny if it did. Gotta admit. Other than that, I have a lot of things to cover, so I will already talk about some things that we will see up ahead. And one very important aspect across the whole run that you will see is weapon management, specifically the equipping and unequipping and reloading of weapons. When and what weapon to use and choose is essential, because compared to other first-person shooters, animations of taking out weapons and swapping weapons is very committal and takes a long time, and they cannot be cancelled once you start them. Meaning, if you need to lockpick a door and you need to equip a lockpick, if you get out the wrong thing, you will have to slowly get out the wrong thing, slowly again, unequip the wrong thing and then equip the right thing, and until that time passes, you have either lost a lot of time and feel really stupid, or you might have died or missed a situation that leads to a mission failure. So that is the reason I have bound half of this keyboard to each and every weapon in this game. There are a lot, and I don't even have all the weapons bound. And I have 12 binds just to equip weapons. 12 buttons just to equip specific weapons. I would like to address that that is still not all the weapons I use in the run. I still need to use the mouse wheel to swap weapons at some point. This end part right here, you can see I've taken this chair all the way at the start of this mission to move it all the way to the end, to that guy specifically that is blocking the doorway. He is the only opponent in that level that is actually in my way, and therefore the most efficient way to take that one guy out is take a chair from all the way at the start of the level, move it through that entire level, and then hit him with it to complete the mission. We are now meeting Miss Jones. She is one of the essential NPCs on our side, which is bad news for us because that means we need to escort her through this mission as well. Roofs is a very interesting mission where we have to keep her safe. This can be either very easy or very impossible depending on how good of an aim enemies have. She will more often than not have more than 90% health when we end this level, but she could as well just die when enemies just don't miss. That is a fear that we will have at some point. Until then, however, we have gotten one of our cool new movement technology gadget thingies. This hook is very cool for multiple reasons. One, we can hook up into very high spots if there is a hook spot available. Very rarely used, and also somewhat slow, but it is only way to generate height if we don't have anything else on our side. The second thing that this hook allows us to do is slowly go down to avoid fall damage. However, falling is just straight up faster, and I can hook right before I touch the ground, resulting in immediate fall damage cancel, allowing me to drop way faster and cancelling all fall damage and killing all of these enemies a lot earlier, and moving Jones right here to this next spot. This is a technique that we call hook jumps, and we will use those essentially everywhere where the game intends us to slowly move down with the hook. Timing the hook immediately as right before we touch the ground is a very risky but very efficient way of moving downwards in this game. Alrighty. You can see also that I, throughout this entire mission, from start to beginning, stand on very specific spots and very specific timings to move Jones to the next spots as early as I can. Here I have listened to an audio cue to cook the nade in a very specific timing to kill these enemies as soon as I can with a nade into their face. Grenades in this game are very particular because they take a very long time to actually explode. They have a fuse time of 4 seconds, and by god it feels like 9 if you try and use these things. But they are actually very powerful in this run. We will use them many times whenever we have the chance of cooking a grenade, or if we need to manipulate them using grenades. Thank you. You can see that the hitboxes of these enemies are quite a lot larger than they appear to be. However, that does not really matter if you need to hit headshots. Enemy hitboxes are very confusingly placed because even if you sometimes only see the head of an enemy, you will do body shots instead. But other times where you completely whiff, you will still hit enemies and you have no idea why. It's very confusing, but that makes headshots very challenging. Alarme! You can see that... Thank you, crowd. You will hear a lot more alarmes in this game. I forgot to equip the weapon I need to use. Alright, that's alright. As you can hear, and I forgot to address this at the start, we're not playing the English version of this game. While we have English text boxes and subtitles, we actually hear Italian voice lines, and that is essential for this game. I will explain that right after we do this section right here. We'll, I guess, instead equip sniper rifles as a backup. He didn't die. That is fine. You would normally use a grenade for 2 of these people and sniper or revolver for 2 other people. That is completely fine as a backup. Killing these enemies right here ends the level practically. So yeah, we use Italian as the language of choice. Why? Because it is faster. What is the real reason? Well, dialogue in this game is very much, as you've already seen, there's a lot of in this game. And dialogue also differs in length depending on in what language you play this game in. For the longest time we have thought that French, the original language of this game, is actually the fastest to run. That was back in the day, in the Wild West of 2013 to 2016, when only 3 people were on the leaderboard of this game. Well, it was 2014 rather. But at some point, the world record runner Leias, who hold the world record from 2014 all the way to 2018, he retimed all of the dialogues in this game in every language possible, and he figured out that actually Spanish is the real winner and is the fastest language in the game. We took that language for the longest time until we've refined some routes that actually affected language, and we've also made some more accurate decisions of of timing dialogue, and we figured then out by the help of Mr. Criminal, that is another runner very essential for all of this game's history and routes, that Italian is actually the fastest language. So that's what we are running today. Enough of languages, we are in Emerald 02, the second level of Emerald Base. Actually, this is where levels are intertwined and resources that I collect from previous levels. Oh, god damn it. Carry over to the next one. That shot is difficult, but it's fine. This second level is actually very special in that we have free choice of what objectives we do in what order. We need to destroy 4 objectives, or 4 generators specifically, and we can do so in whatever order we choose. That's why we also sniped one of the generators from the other side of that area without ever lockpicking the door that you're supposed to lockpick to get to that. We have sniped with the pistol through a window that first generator, lockpicked the second one, shot it from far away with the pistol to optimize our movement. There was the third one, again shot through a window, and this fourth one is a very specific setup. I am just a god, I don't need any setup at all. So that's what's supposed to be a very specific assault rifle grenade. I have accidentally pressed right click and it worked. That room right there, you're supposed to lockpick that one as well to get access to that generator. However, the ground of that generator room is actually slightly elevated and only has a hitbox from up to below. If you shoot an explosive, hold up, there you go, there you go. If you shoot an explosive below the ground, it will actually do damage through the ground up above into the generator, destroying it without ever lockpicking any door. That final drop, by the way, was very scary because there is no single checkpoint in that level, meaning if I have died there, that would have been the whole level all over again. And that is actually a possibility. The reason I have not taken any fall damage there is because I have strafed into a slope all the way on the ground there. I have mentioned before that slopes are essential for movement. One possibility with slopes is that you convert all of your fall momentum into horizontal momentum, which means all the fall damage that you would have taken from that velocity downwards is negated, and you can just move on forwards without using any hook ever whatsoever. That's what you're supposed to do there. The second way of using slopes for movement is actually the exact same process, but in the opposite direction. Moving and jumping into a slope converts all of your horizontal momentum into vertical height, which allows for a lot of high jumps that are, or shouldn't be, possible, and yet here we are, allowing some crazy tricks later on in the game where these slopes become a very massive resource for height and cool tricks. Emerald 03 is a very different level compared to the other levels of this Emerald section, as this is a very close quarters combat oriented level. I will shoot here early to manipulate this enemy to be alerted, get into my way so he doesn't body block me around the corner. And here I will actually reload the checkpoint I have just hit to manipulate a global cycle that would normally be very unpredictable to react to. But if I drop down right here without that, it would be random deaths all over. There is a death that is not random. I have not done the hook jump right. But down that fall that I have taken, there is this electroshock area that is appearing every couple seconds. With that checkpoint reload, there it is, I can control when that shock will be, and when I reload the checkpoint and immediately go all the way up and drop down as fast as I can, this shock will never be active. I have, however, taken a lot of fall damage, so let's see if I can survive this. Okay, we are not done yet. There you go. Okay, we have officially survived with 18 HP. A very claustrophobic slope jump right there, again to optimize quite a lot of movement there. Jumping these boxes up individually. It's very annoying and has taken a lot of my nerves in the early days of running. Until we realized, wait, there's a slope on the side, we can just jump against that, you dummy. And we did it. And it is really good. We have a bit of a longer cutscene coming up, but funnily enough, it is one of my favorite cutscenes because you actually maintain control and it allows for a little bit of shenanigans along the way. I, however, do need the lockpick to lockpick a door, another keycard. Here we have Mr. Carrington over here. He is another essential gentleman that knows of our identity, which also means we need to protect him for the next 2 levels. Until then, however, we can restock on some supplies, maybe phase through a... yeah, can't phase through a door, but we have this little camera display right here, and it makes a cool sound when I look on it. If I look on it from the side, I can do it even more if I slope on top of it. I can also run against it and just get jutted all the way just back and forth, and if I jump in the right moment, I actually get launched all the way to the end of this room against this wall. It is a beautiful little digit display thingy. Okay. My goal right here is actually to not use any health kits, even though I have any, until the end of this level, because whenever you complete a level with less than 25 HP, you will refill back to 25 HP, allowing for any desperate players to still play through a level if they have below that health, meaning I can optimize my medkit usage if I keep on to that health in that way. There you go. Emerald 04, this level right here, is very special as it is yet again a bit of an open level where we need to kill all of the enemies spawned right now to get a keycard. The last enemy I kill will always drop a keycard, and therefore careful routing allows us to always get the perfect enemy to drop a keycard. I have killed all of these before. I've also shot at the start, specifically to manipulate the enemies to get alerted to run to me instead of me trying to hunt them down from very far away, allowing me to kill all of these with just 2 assault rifle magazines very efficiently. And we've gotten the keycard from the last gentleman, and we can move onwards. The 3 enemies that spawn right here are very tricky. I need to kill all 3 of them, because otherwise they would hunt down Carrington, which still is something we need to protect. I have killed all of them though with that grenade. That is very fortunate. These enemies, because they are so far away, are very difficult. By the way, you don't need to open the fuse box. You can just put the fuse under the thing and it just fits. It just works. But yeah, these 3 enemies are tricky. We have no real weapons that are 100% accurate and also fast to shoot. Therefore, the assault rifle, which is fairly accurate, is the best chance there. I actually shoot this enemy. I tried to kill him before he fully spawned in. To kill him before he spawns with his equipment. That enemy is the only one where you can really see that if enemies spawn in, they first spawn an enemy unit and only afterwards, like a split second after, will they get their armor and their weapons. And in that time frame where they don't have any armor, you are able to actually kill them way more efficiently because, well, they're not protected. Still, assault rifles are not the most accurate weapons in the game. They are one of the most powerful and they are of the more accurate weapons, but nevertheless there's some variance there that makes it inconsistent. Another hook drop right there. I was being safe at doing it twice. And here we have a very action-packed final level of Emerald Base where we need to protect Carrington. You're supposed, again, to drop down with the hook very slowly. However, me dropping down immediately the way I did actually stopped the trigger from happening, which means this cable car will not drop down after I have touched the ground, but rather at some random point when it thinks it's the right time to drop. So, yeah, that one is just chilling. Sometimes it makes a nice noise. There it is. Okay. But yeah, it's... Again, another one of these... Oh, there it is. That was a dropping. That should have happened like a minute ago. Other than that, it is me protecting Carrington completely in this level. It mostly is the case that I need to be accurate with my shots. As soon as his dialogue ends, he wants to move to the next location, but can't if the enemies are alive. Thankfully, he talks quite a lot, so I have a little bit of leeway with every of my shots, but I can waste a bit of time whenever I miss or take 2 shots to kill an enemy. Also, again, the same rules apply as in the roofs level. I need to stand in very specific spots so Carrington doesn't feel like he's left behind, and he will move along the nodes that he is programmed at moving in as quickly as he can. There he is. This final section, you're supposed to use this M60 from all the way at the start. However, there are 2 enemies all the way at the back that spawn really far away. The sniper rifle, if you have ammunition left, is a better option for those 2. And then we kill these enemies in a very specific order to spawn the next enemies as efficiently as possible, to never pause. Oh god. And move to the next level. We have started a new chapter. This is Kellawee Lake, and this is quite an infamous one. Both Kellawee Lake 1 and 2 are very difficult levels in very different ways, and I will get to the reasons of Kellawee Lake 2 in a second, but this first level is special. It has some very optimized movement in form of direct lines, but right here in the distance you can see a boat that actually has one of the secret documents in this game. These are special skills that you can find by looking at these documents, or by just finding these documents placed around the world. I am despawning enemies, by the way, that are normally spawning way earlier, but by looking at them they won't spawn because they're shy. But these important documents have many different effects. The one that I have skipped is actually a lockpick document that would allow me to lockpick doors way faster. The reason we skip it at that point is because we get it way later in the run, where it doesn't actually take a lot of time to get. This is, by the way, one of the most difficult jumps in the game, and I will get to explaining it in a second. And it looks like absolutely nothing, which is even more funny. Okay, I've missed it enough times, so I'll go for a backup. That is called DSS. The story behind it is that we have done this skip that you will see right here for the longest of time, where we surf along this log to skip a cutscene where opponents are calling us Dorothy. This is a reference to The Wizard of Oz, Dorothy in that movie/book. That skip allows us to skip that cutscene. That's why we call it Dorothy skip. Then we found this specific slope jump that is really difficult to get, and since it skips the sections with the Dorothy skip, we call it Dorothy skip. DSS in short. But that is fine. It was a fairly fluent first Kellawee Lake, apart from using Dorothy skip number 1. And we have fairly good health for the upcoming section that is Kellawee Lake 2. And this is where I need to reach a bit further back to let you know why this level is so memorable for older runners of this game. This is the longest cutscene in the game, or one of the longest in the game, followed by a holdout section where you need to kill a lot of enemies, which then spawn even more waves of enemies, and at some point there is an explosion at the back of the house which allows us to move to the end of the level. This killing of enemies is exceptionally dumb to optimize. You need to kill every enemy in a very specific order to get the scripts going in a very specific way to make everyone spawn as fast as possible. And there were 2 specific enemies that you need to kill at the very end, and they just sometimes did not appear based on basically randomness. It felt random, it was very difficult to get consistent and fast. That is the reason why this level is actually, in the old route, one of the most reset-heavy levels in the game. Runs were only really starting half an hour in after you have passed Kellawee Lake number 2. It has come to the point of desperation where we have started a religion to pray for better RNG. And this god that we have prayed to is Lord Moose right here. We have crouched down to Lord Moose and prayed for that we can complete a run. We have made a system to make more cool strats, to make cool moves during the run, to appease Lord Moose so we can complete a run. Thankfully, we have not to go through all that pain in today's route. For we have found cool new tech, starting in 2018, the revival of 13 speedrun. It is still, however, very difficult, so give me a second. I will need to kill this opponent in the first shot, which is a good start. Here is a very specific slope jump, which I have done full first try. All right. That is exceptionally rare. And with that, we can actually move up to an opponent that has a bazooka, so we can just explode the way on our own, using that bazooka ammunition that we have gotten from a ledge that we really should not be supposed to be getting up there. And in fact, we need to kill that opponent very early, because he shoots immediately as he sees us. An immediate headshot is necessary for him to not shoot the rocket, for him to actually keep that ammunition on him when we move up to him. Hence why it is important to be both efficient with an accurate shot with a revolver, which, by the way, I don't think... Yeah, that was my last shot with the revolver. I had no other choice. And second of all, there is no other explosive in that whole 2-level section, because the devs knew explosives would make that level skippable. So that new trick is what made this run bearable. Or at least the old Kellawee Lake, an old story and a fun one to tell. In fact, I have mentioned the revival of 13. There is a couple of chapters to the speedrunning community and the story behind it. I have mentioned that when I started with running this game in 2013, there were not that many people on the leaderboard. In fact, there were 2 before me. That is the gentleman that has created the leaderboard, Zoton2, whose run that I have seen back then is still his PB on that leaderboard, funnily enough. And a second run, which was the world record for the longest time in that early era from Venezia, an early female speedrunner. It has not taken long, however, after that leaderboard has been made, that a gentleman called Laius, or Lay in short, dominated this run for half a decade. He took the world records in 2013 and kept it, and improved upon it, racing his own sum of best until 2016, and he kept the world record up to 2018. He was dominant, and with the help of the strats found by French runner Chow as well, there was no one that really was matching his skill. The running community took a hiatus from 2016 to 2018 when the big revival happened, when all of a sudden an outburst of new runs happened again. When we were motivated to run this game again, old experienced runners came back and new motivated runners joined in, allowing for way more strats, an optimized way of thinking about the run and the game itself, and allowing for the run to be exceptionally more optimized than it was just 4 years ago. This whole setup, by the way, that I have done was part of that revival and strat finding. The whole path that I have took, where these 2 policemen have escorted me, I have moved in very specific ways to run into this gentleman right here at the end. He should normally be standing right where I am standing right here, but he is now doing this cutscene on a very different point. If I jump now as this cutscene ends, he gets Jedi powers and opens this door from the other side of the hallway, allowing to save 10 seconds, because normally you would have to watch this man slowly walk down that hallway, and it's skipped by that very specific trick. Instant door, it is called, and to this day, it is super weird. Here is some tricky movement as well up these vents. At this point in the story, we have figured out that we have apparently been an imposter to the organization, and therefore we are moving through vents right here to cover our tracks. I am not sorry. But escaping from these vents, we can go to a more fast-paced approach of finishing this level. This gentleman right here has a key that starts a whole bunch of key juggling and optimized movement combined with what I've mentioned at the start, item management. I need to sort my keys and swap to the keys as efficiently as possible, while also, there you go, timing my weapon swaps as efficiently as possible so that I will swap to the keys as fast as I can once I pick them up. It seems trivial, but optimizing that is very difficult, and these enemies do a lot of damage. We don't have a lot of resources available right now. We only have a pistol and hopefully fairly soon the shotgun. If I don't get a shotgun, that will be even more curious, but let's see here. I need to kill this gentleman coming up fast, which did not happen, so we have to avoid the shotgun for now. We now have two opponents on our backside that we would normally kill with shotguns. We'll try to improvise to not die. There's no one else following us, that is good. And we have killed this gentleman in 2 headshots, which is the most efficient possible. We have survived the first of 2 plain rock levels, and this second one is probably even more difficult. Plain rock is a sort of institution, a psychiatry which is also a hospital, but there is a gentleman right here, Dr. Johansson. He's a bit crazy. He likes to gut people for fun and call it research. We will be his next subject, and to avoid dying a painful death, we will have to collect specifically revolver ammunition. The only real way of fighting this guy, he is the first and probably most difficult boss fight in the game when it comes to optimization. All of these gentlemen right here have revolver ammunition. I need, in best case scenario, 18. I would like, however, to have 24 at my disposal for safety. I will use one right here for optimized movement right here, otherwise that guy would have body blocked me. The rest of these shots will be used for the boss fight coming right now. Johansson is special and difficult because he is actually a boss that has many different patterns to choose from, normally very random, and his movement is exceptionally unpredictable. He can be killed with 18 headshots. However, his erratic movement along with his randomized patterns makes it very hard to actually kill him in 18 shots. In all of my practice runs, and actually in the last couple of years, not had that happen once to me. I do, however, have a manipulation right at the start, which he sometimes follows, which allows me to get more hits in and get me a bit of time to manipulate two of his phases. Let's see if that will work. Okay. This syringe is an interesting attack because as soon as it hits me, I will be stunned for quite a long time and I will lose my weaponry. However, that was 18 shots and a Johansson dead. That is really rare. For me at least. Right after the boss fight, I have moved to a specific spot to start this flashback as soon as I can. Right before that, however, I have moved a painting to the side to discover another of these secret important documents. I have mentioned one before. This one was the better sniping document, which allows me to have better aim when sniping. This means that there is no, I guess, it wasn't very noticeable before, but sniper-type weapons, when scoped in, have a blue bar at the right and left-hand side. That the bigger they are, the harder it is for that weapon to aim when scoped. That effect is now nullified, and we will need that for an upcoming section. By the way, that lady, we should have saved her, but punching her is just way faster. And funnily enough, the game really doesn't expect us to do that. In the cutscene that we will skip, she is there thanking us that we have saved her life, and no, we have left her here. We punched her so it was faster. Okay, one quick kill right here, and we are starting another one of the most infamous parts of this run. Canyon 01 is exceptional. It is a level full of slopes, and if you've heard me talk before, you know that slopes is a speedrunner's dream in this game. We have so many opportunities to cancel fall damage and gain more height than we are supposed to. There are free jumps in particular that will skip insane amounts of things. This first run right here is very specific. This jump has skipped over a trigger that spawned 3 rocket launcher opponents. Rocket launchers, by the way, killing us instantly if they hit us directly. So that second jump right here allows us to skip a major part of this level. Normally this is one of the biggest levels in the game, but that skip has skipped, that jump has skipped the first section that we will be able to skip. And this triangle jump right here, there you go, third time's the charm, allows us to make what would normally be a very, very long level to the shortest one in the game, pretty much. These jumps are difficult to learn and probably one of the main roadblocks when you first start learning the game. They are, however, consistent as long as you can hit your jumps correctly. Alrighty. With that, we move to Canyon 02. Slopes are still abundant, however we have a lot more opponents, a lot of which have rocket launchers. We open the level with a very specific fall damage cancel. I have not survived yet. Okay, I have survived now. You can see here are just so many enemies with so many rocket launchers. It is a sight to behold, and I think there is no other section in the game where the game really throws that many really dangerous opponents at you. I have also taken quite a lot of fall damage, so that will make the upcoming drops more interesting. Here again, I need to drop on very specific slopes to negate all of the fall damage right here. Here's the second one. Both of which successful, however, we are not finished yet. Oh god. Let us behave weird when you don't look at them. There you go. There is one final slope jump right here that allows us to skip the ladder on our left-hand side, and at the same time, this also skips a lot of spawns that would normally happen all around us. I will take, actually, this medkit. I feel a lot more safe now. There would be a lot more enemies normally around here if I would have taken that ladder. However, with that specific slope jump, I can move up here as conveniently as I can without getting shot at. A couple of blockades later, we have survived Canyon 02. Just one opponent and one shot in our way. It is gonna be interesting. Nope, okay. It's fine. AKs are fairly accurate. You would normally want at least 2 revolver headshots, or 2 revolver shots for that final opponent that we just saw right there. He is the one that keeps the level end trigger from spawning, so killing him faster means ending the level faster, of course. We have ended a fairly long chapter. Apologies. And have started probably the biggest chapter in the game, starting right off with an infiltration into an army base and a cutscene that we should normally watch. However, we don't like doing that. This is specific, so I will shut up for a second. Oh god, we have survived. To explain what just happened. This is normally a dialogue between these two soldiers calling these rookies all sorts of names, and they are thinking they're John Rambo. To copyright reasons, the subtitles always say John Rainbow instead. But the voice lines are always John Rambo, funnily enough. But these two opponents you should normally avoid until they leave the room. If you would normally do what I just did, the game intends you to die by their gun. They are equipped with full armor, full helmet, and in fact, way more ammunition than any other enemy, and also 100% accuracy, something that no other opponent in this game has, and yet we are able to survive thanks to the mechanic of Goomba stomping. Yes, you can jump on opponents' heads and kill them immediately. The only way to actually kill these opponents right there is by jumping on top of their head with combined movement on railings. So it is very easy to die there, and dying there loses 45 seconds. I'm very happy to get that first try and to survive that section. Here is the second occurrence in the game where we can use this flashback as a mechanic to phase through walls and doors. This time, however, it is way more specific and way more minute and time safe. I think I got it, but it is very rare to get that one as well. If I just walk right through, I have gotten it. Holy shit. Apologies. There is a very, very small section where you are actually airborne in that because of the door frame. And so getting enough height or timing the jump in the exact time where you are against the door, airborne, but also when the trigger of that flashback starts, it happens rarely. We are now in the Spats camp, and this is supposed to be a stealth level, including explosive barrels that are stealthy, and no one can hear apparently. But this section right here, once we are in this area, we are in a very specific, unconventional state. Normally when an alert happens and when someone presses the alarm button, something will trigger, and within 2 seconds after the alarm has been met, the game will fail the mission. However, this cutscene right here that we have started is peculiar. We have free movement throughout it, and we can't actually fail the mission with other alerts not coming directly from these NPCs or these opponents in this area. And at this point right now, you're supposed to actually be within this tent hiding. You can actually see some opponents that would block the doorway out of the tent on the back side. We can't kill them yet, but they are again also triggered in a very particular fashion that if they see me at all, immediately the mission fails, as is with the essential NPCs within the tent. But us being outside means we can actually move around a bit, have some fun. We are, for example, on top of the tent. Here we are on top of apparently invisible walls of boxes. We can jump around, sadly not out of bounds, but we can take a bit of our time until this dialogue is up to a certain point. The reason I have picked up the sniper document is for these two opponents in the back here. If I miss a shot, these will be alerted and immediately the mission fails. The good knight in this dialogue we see right here is the cue for them starting to leave, and you're really not supposed to see these guys leave. The sniper document allowed me to accurately aim at their heads even with their erratic movement, allowing me to guarantee a kill on them. And at the same time, normally you're supposed to get a keycard right here, wait for these essential NPCs to wait all the way, to walk all the way outside and despawn. However, skipping the keycard is very fast. This, however, is very risky. There you go. We have passed the checkpoint. We have triggered it just before we have failed, allowing us to continue, even though, by all means, we should have reset, or the game would have liked us to reset. That skip right there is incredibly costly if you miss it. Failing that section would make you have to watch that 2-minute cutscene all over again, meaning you have just lost 2 minutes, and at the worst case possible, you would actually hardlock the game from working properly. There is a glitch in this game that if you hit a checkpoint right after you have failed a mission, any mission end trigger in the game will despawn, meaning it is impossible to end the level no matter what. Even if you have progressed through the rest of the level completely ordinarily, you are not able to actually complete a mission and get to the next map. You can only fix that by restarting the game. And that trick comes very close to that risk being a possibility. I am glad I didn't have to do that. We have now alerted everyone in this camp and are now running right through here. We have planted a bomb, which is why we are now out of stealth mode. This gentleman right here is someone we need to manipulate. Close the door on him so he doesn't get in here. As soon as he walks into the room right here, he spawns actually way more enemies, so shooting at him individually keeps him from moving into that room, therefore also skipping a lot of spawns that would normally happen within that room. Only one enemy stands between us and the end of this level, and this is McCall, the general of this whole army spats camp. He is a very burly one, and he also has one of the most powerful weapons in the game, the heavy machine gun, the M60. Funnily enough, the manual of the game calls it the SMG, the submachine gun. It's, yeah, fun fact, but McCall right here, it's a magazine to the face, and then an M60 as well to his face, making him a very easy boss to kill in a very fast manner, allowing us to end the Spats camp section, moving on to the submarine base. This is still the same chapter, and we will have many more levels to come within this one chapter, meaning all of my equipment will still be relevant from what I've picked up in the first couple of levels to the end right here. I've picked up another secret document, to which I will come to later. I will place a grenade on the ground right here, not to kill these enemies, but actually to make them afraid, to make them run away so they don't shoot at me. Grenades are very useful for that, as long as they lie on the ground. Enemies will have the priority of moving away from that grenade and holding their hands against their ears to not, I guess, die. So grenades are often used to just not get shot at and to manipulate opponents into specific behavior. This is one of the occurrences where fall damage can kill me. If the fall damage bug occurs, however, we were lucky enough that that didn't happen. And we have enough health to spare to just move up here, ignoring all the enemies we have just passed. The important document that I have just picked up was the Better Healing document. That is one of the best documents in the game, as it doubles our healing possibility with each and every medkit. There are small and big medkits in this game. Small ones normally healing for 25 health and the big ones healing for 75. Now that is doubled, meaning our health situation is now a lot easier to control, which will be important for the rest of the run. We have here the submarine that we are trying to infiltrate. We have a very specific setup which works sometimes to actually get on top of this submarine. That is a very giant slope jump that we need to do off of water, which is very difficult to manipulate as well. But we were able to walk up here, allowing for some optimized movement, not having to swim, and starting a very specific level, which is Submarine 01. This is a stealth level which, getting seen at any point in time at the start, or actually just any sort of wrong movement and just moving slightly too fast or slightly too slow, will fail this mission immediately. It is exceptionally easy to reset here many times, because you need to walk very specific paths in very specific timings to simply not fail while moving fast. I would like to quote Zotone 2 in this level, for he said, "This is the only level and the easiest level in the run that he can do 100% consistent." He then failed this mission about 5 times in a row. That is the nature of this mission. But you see what I just did there. Just barely before that door actually locked itself, I was able to open it because of my very specific movement, allowing for skipping a very long cutscene, a lot of triggers, ending this level exceptionally fast. That was a perfect Submarine 01. Also something that you really can't just wish for anything more. We have continued the trend of making everything go haywire as soon as we have completed a successful stealth mission. This time the whole submarine tries to kill us. Thankfully, we have assault rifle ammo to spare, so no real opponent that is not a boss fight can be a real threat. Meaning, hey, the captain of this level is probably a good boss fight, ain't it? I actually try and kill all of the opponents in my way, because they will hunt me down later on. I will do a very specific setup right here to make me stuck in that door. Normally, with this cutscene, you're supposed to move right to Captain Edelbright right there, but we are stuck in the door, and now he's talking to the air. As soon as this cutscene ends, there are 2 things that can happen. Either I stay stuck in the door, or I phase through it, and I can start shooting at him immediately, even before he starts realizing what's happening, killing him immediately. There are only 2 minor things to do before this level ends. One is getting the key right here to open the silo to get out of the submarine. Oh, that is one hell of a placement for an enemy. Yeah? Okay. I have no idea why that didn't count as a Goomba kill. He had an iron helmet, apparently. The second thing that I will do right here is a lockpick document. while the silo door opens, I can move around for a bit without losing time. There is a second one under me. This hasn't happened before. I haven't lost any time to that, so that's good. But as the silo door opens, it takes quite a long time for it to be fully open, so that's why I can take my time and get a secret document after opening that. And that document is actually the better lockpick document. It is way more efficient to get it later in the game, when it takes no time to get it, than actually to get it early when it takes 6 seconds to get. Routing differences that makes a big difference in a good run attempt. Here are 3 fully armored opponents with good weapons. I will use all the grenades that I have to try and kill them without stopping. This also has the additional side effect that they won't shoot at me when I run past them. However, them surviving, which I feel like more than one has survived, makes this leap of faith very difficult. But they just didn't decide to shoot early enough. That is good news for me. That leap of faith is normally not what you're supposed to do. Normally you would make a platform move from side to side to get a bit of more distance to get to that hook section. However, I am on very low health, and this might be unhealthy. Okay, I will make very specific location checks right here. Again, normally you're also not supposed to be in water when this explosion happens. Okay, I had 2 little health, that is fine. Checkpoint is right here, and actually I will get this medkit, which will make that problem insignificant. But yeah, that section, normally you would have a lot more health. That was unfortunate that these opponents survived the grenades. It is completely fine. By the way, the technique I'm using right here is called dolphin jumps. Movement in water is normally very, very slow, but moving against walls in a very specific way and strafing diagonally along them without actually touching the walls allows you for way faster movement, a lot faster than actually just swimming. This is one of the strats, or one of the movement techniques that have been found as well all the way back in 2008, albeit in a way less optimized way. Along the time, and especially after the big revival, as we call it, we have optimized that one technique a lot to make that movement as smooth and as fast as possible. We have lost most of our weapons, however, we still have assault rifle grenades. We use that to kill all the spawns in this room in a very specific way, just as they spawn in. Me looking away also made that guy spawn to open the door as fast as possible. And at the same time, the assault rifle grenade I shot at first killed enemies at the other side of the room across like 3 containers that were stacked. This allows us for optimized movement through here. Here is an opponent I need to kill as early as I can. Beautiful, that lets the door be open as I move through it. This is smooth jumping. Oh yeah, it's so smooth. And this level ends with another very unique boss fight, which we can only damage with rocket launcher ammunition. And that boss fight will be just a full-size chopper trying to hunt one gentleman down. This guy is tricky to hit. He has movement that is static at the start, so he moves a very controlled way at the start. Now he is strafing from side to side, making him very difficult to hit. But as soon as he starts his phase where he shoots rockets, we can actually manipulate him to stay in that phase where he is standing still, as long as we don't give him enough line of sight or long enough line of sight to shoot his second rocket. He will stand completely still, allowing us to shoot all of our rockets without any problem, and managing our ammunition perfectly so that we end the fight with the final rocket makes it so we don't automatically reload when we try to move away from that fight, which means we can unequip the rocket launcher a lot quicker. By the way, fun movement on the right-hand side right there. I have also forgotten to point out there are 2D seagulls on top of these containers. You can see them once this frame disappears. There they are. Did you see them? Anyway, this start of this level, this hotel level, is wild. we have walked against this lady to manipulate her to follow us instead of pressing the alert button, so we can shoot her all the way at the end. This is way faster than moving her body after killing her where she was, because that would make her body seeable by other NPCs spawning in way later, allowing us to move her body by letting her run to us a lot better. At the same time, we have now started a cutscene where we should normally scope with our far-scoped microphone, but only doing that at the start allows us to move freely as this is happening, and we can see that we can use that time to kill opponents as they spawn in, like that guard we just backstabbed right there. That allows us to have all the corpses laying around as they are, without anyone pressing alert and finding these bodies. So we can watch this cutscene completely fine, without any interruptions. Perfect for any donations.
Cal donated $50. That's sub 01. I'm proud.
Thank you, Cal. That is one of the 13 runners in the modern day after the revival who took a lot of time to really optimize ILs in this game, and he is definitely one of the most exceptional runners for this game, so I'm glad to see his name, and thank you so much for that generous donation, Cal. There are a lot of people that I would like to mention that have been big participants of making this route as it is today. I have mentioned Criminal, who did a lot of research after the revival. I have mentioned Cal, who is exceptional at optimizing the IL levels. Der Kenster, the current world record holder and the one who holds the world record since 2018, his world record run is beyond beautiful to watch, and he to this day makes many resources, making a lot of the tricks in this game very easy to understand, making it short and sweet to really get it. I will mention him later. For now, however, let's finish this hotel level as quickly as we can. The important document that we have picked up in that last level in Quay 33 was the dual wield document. Another one of the most devastating documents to get. You can see that we have two of these, as the game calls it, miniguns equipped. I guess they are small guns, but yeah, I won't deny that. They are very fast-firing, inaccurate guns. However, when two equipped, they become one of the most devastating damage sources that we have at our disposal. Showing you right here, that was a boss and an enemy right behind there that I have killed accidentally. Two miniguns are really strong. They are only held back by needing a lot of ammunition to really use. Yeah. But whenever we get the chance and we have a boss fight coming up, if we have two miniguns, we sure as hell will use them. They are exceptionally good. We have started the second to last chapter in the game, Sanctuary. I have missed the first shot, so that's a good start. Sanctuary starts off as a stealth-heavy level. This is the headquarters of the secret organization that we're trying to sabotage. And it's apparent by now that they are trying to, I guess, rule the government. I am not sure what the plan is exactly, but they are planning something, and we're trying to find that out in this Sanctuary headquarters right here. This first level is one of the most fun to really optimize as an IL run. A lot of precise movement, singular shots that are accurate, and we can see the hook usage here as well for nice boost up here. We also see that we have two pistols, but only one can be silenced at any time, making the second pistol exceptionally useless. I must admit, one of the reasons we get the dual wield document so late into the run, we had a chance way earlier, is because of the two pistols. They are actually worse than just using one pistol. They are very accurate, they are very awkward to use because you can only shoot the second pistol by holding the mouse button long enough, and there is recoil between the two shots and a big enough delay to make it difficult for that second pistol to hit accurately. Meaning, with the combined fact that the second pistol can never be silenced, you basically never want the second pistol equipped, and the game automatically equips a second pistol whenever you have one. So, yeah, it's not one of the best things to have. 2 miniguns, however, we take those. Those are very nice to have. We are now within the sanctuary itself. The stealth trend continues, however, we see more important NPCs that have a dialogue and are scarily close to us. Again, they really shouldn't be finding us or seeing us or interacting with us in this level at all. However, if we want to go fast and they're in our way, well, we need to get somehow past them. So here's Mr. Wax. Oh, just okay, there you go. This second one, we can just watch these spawn. And again, they are now one important. There's one important guy just lying on the floor, just really not supposed to be there. But hey, I guess no one really cares. He's lying there for the rest of the level and suddenly appears at the end in a different mission. So all is fine and dandy. We have one final section up here in this stealth-based level. There are 2 opponents right here. Only one of them will press the alarm button, so that's the only one I have to kill. And the rest is just movement to the end. I will make more enemies spawn, but all of them just have crossbows, which not a very powerful weapon if they hit the body, so I can mostly ignore these and lay in this secret key that really takes a while to figure out if you're playing casually. Move on to the 3rd sanctuary level, this one being a bit more intense, and from the reactions of the crowd in the past hour, I believe this will make you quite happy. Okay, let's just walk through here. That is not the route. That is not the, okay, this is not, I have somehow saved it. All right, fair enough. None of that was supposed to happen, but we have made it. The reason I have mentioned possible happiness is these 2 opponents right here don't have any button to actually alarm anyone. Meaning they only have their voice to let anyone know, hey, we are getting infiltrated, but no one is listening to them. This will now continue until the end of the level. We have this very moving speech of this organizer leader, and even they can't really hear the poor screams of someone in the back who's really just asking for help at this point, but oh, he got quiet. Oh, never mind. There you go. One hook jump later and we move to this final section. I will have to do this section while looking straight up, because getting hit in this game will actually have very massive... Applause yourself. Oh God. Dear crowd, please applaud for yourself. That was beautiful. We have moved to the final, to the final level of Sanctuary. This, as any other stealth level, has become just a complete shootout with us trying to escape. this area after we have gotten our information, apparently. Here we have, on our zipline, a sniping section. Here is one of the moments where the sniper document is essentially, very essential for killing these fairly easily. I will try and hit them as early as possible, because otherwise their movement becomes quite erratic and unpredictable. And the rest will be done, I guess, with pistols and AKs. The AK is a fairly accurate gun. Okay, I say as... it's... well, okay. Apparently, accuracy is not my forte, so I will just use miniguns to kill these opponents on these helicopters. I am missing everything. That is fine. We have actually collected minigun ammunition from all the way at the start of this level, or this whole section to the end, for these opponents, but I guess it just wasn't effective today. Nevertheless, we got it done. Lost a bit of time at these final kills. That wasn't that beautiful to look at. Still, one last jump. That was really close to death. And we have started the last chapter of this game, SSH1. We now have a very long cutscene in front of us, and this is probably a very well-placed one. Whenever you are at this part in the game, looking at this cutscene, trying to get into the headquarters of the US, I guess, Secret Service, you look back on the whole run as it was, getting really nervous and trying to calm down if it was a good run, and really trying to find any way of optimizing it if it was a bad one. The first two levels, or I guess the first level particular, SSH1A, the one we are in right now, is a very challenging stealth level. It might be the longest one in the game, and any mistake along the way will be a checkpoint reset, costing 10 seconds to a minute of time loss. Especially the final trick at the end of this whole level is something. We see here a gentleman that we have knocked down in Sanctuary. He has completely recovered and has no memories of what has happened in the past 20 minutes. He will guide the president that we have on our side right here to the end. We need to find another way to get in. This Mr. Wax guy, remember his face? He won't have one for much longer once we have actually completed the strat we do to finish this level fast. Until then, we can just wait for this guy to walk to the exit. We can, I don't know. We can make our best impression as a plant. Calm down, take a final breather, before we start the final section of this run. Any mistake after now will result in a checkpoint reset. Now, costing us... Yeah, he has a bit of a problem, yeah. Who did that laugh? That was legendary. Alright. We reset this checkpoint to make a global cycle start for all the enemy placements right over here. We alert this opponent just long enough that he walks out of his regular cycle, but too little for him to actually go for the alarm button. He will now chase us in a very slow marking motion, no one being able to see him once we are done here. Press this button right in front of his nose and just run away. As soon as I press this button, he will disappear into thin air. Oh, I got the one frame button right there. This button locks itself after what feels like 2 frames of time to press it. We don't need this chair. This section right here is also very specific. I will stand in the sight of the opponent on my left-hand side long enough so that he is alerted that he will turn to this button right as I come to him to backstab him. he will take a broom. And this gentleman, I might be able to avoid entirely if I'm just very sneaky. There you go. Now, this whole level is supposed to be stealthy based on the fact that these important NPCs will walk throughout this entire map checking for bodies. However, a bottle to the face solves all of those problems, allowing us to skip these important NPCs, running straight to the end, not having to wait at all for them to check the whole floor for bodies. It would be a very long level if you would have to hide them from the escorts of these two gentlemen. However, that bottle throw that is very specific allows us to just knock out Wax yet again. He just can't get a break from us trying to be fast. Here we have another specific fight where I will kill this opponent, wait a very exact amount of time, shoot a grenade, and that kills both this gentleman and one that just spawned right in where that boom explosion was. That was where the other opponent was. Here we have another boss fight. That was another boss fight. Mr. Standwell took a grenade to his face. Not very healthy, apparently. Grenades and explosions in this game have the possibility to headshot, making quick kills like this possible. However, sadly, this is the only boss where it is really plausible to make a headshot grenade kill possible. If there was any other one that was consistent, we would do it. Here we have Mr. President on our back. He is not feeling too well. Therefore, we will move him as fast as we can, which means just placing him on the ground, moving a little bit, and then picking him up again. We can also optimize this by jumping as soon as we try to pick him up, which is quite a bit more difficult. It saves a bit of time. Let's see if he is still breathing. Can you feel his pulse? Yeah, he seems fine. He seems fine. Right, one final fight here left. This room is incredibly weird. Depending on the outcome on when these opponents die, really weird things start to happen. I believe we have gotten a fairly normal cycle, so nothing special should be happening. Okay, that's friendly fire, mister. He has a walk cycle. Okay, there are many things that could happen here. You could softlock in this part. This guy could have no walk animation at all. I have no idea when any of that happens. It just happens. It's really weird. But we have completed the second level of SSH2, SSH1. We are now in the third and second to last level of SSH1. This one being just one room, being one big fight. We have to be exceptionally optimal with when we kill what opponents and when we move where. I will place a grenade on the feet of the two guarding the doorway. They weren't expecting that one. I will use an assault rifle grenade on the way to kill that shotgun guy all the way at the end. Hopefully, if I was just right fast enough, I will spawn that guy right there, killing all necessary spawns, killing the last couple ones with the M60. Oh god. Shotgun? Yeah, that's the right option for... Yep. While I was fighting all of these opponents at the same time, I was moving to these stairs, starting a dialogue that Wax just held by himself. This dialogue, again, dependent on language, takes more or less amount of time. And you will have to be optimal, have every opponent killed by the time he ends his dialogue. This route for this room has changed with every time we have changed the language of this run, because we had different amounts of times to kill all of the opponents in here. With French, where we used to think it's a fast language, we had a lot of time to kill all of the opponents in there. When we made the switch to a different language, we couldn't understand why nothing worked anymore. So that took a bit of research. That was a fun realization of language affecting more than we thought we affected with that. Needless to say, however, killing that room starts this final section. We can start his dialogue just by standing outside of his room, and we can do that to get resources for the final level. Or the, I guess, second to last level. The last mission being just a cutscene. The one upcoming is the actual last fight mission that we have. In this last mission, we find a lot of unique ways to use the equipment we have. For example, this hook right here has very specific properties when trying to use items. We can, for example, press this lever through the box only when you have the hook equipped. With nothing else in the game equipped, you can't actually press that button, press that lever through the wall or through that box right there. We will proc a grenade and throw it against this door, hoping that it will just stop the door. And now we have a very specific grenade shot through the lock there, destroying the servers immediately, starting the final fight of this game. Mr. Mongoose coming up is an exceptionally difficult fight for a casual player. I will style on him just a little bit. It has not worked. I will try to reset and do it a second time. Specifically, you are not supposed to shoot at him during the cutscene, as is apparent. Oh god. Okay, there you go. Let's see if that one worked. Nope. Okay. I will do a third one, however, this one is guaranteed to work, as I am using the M60 instead. Slowly walking down. So, while this is going on, it's very loud. This is the only cutscene in the game where you can actually shoot as you start the cutscene. And if I have done this correctly, I can skip the first complete phase of this fight. He has not taken enough damage, but that would have allowed me to skip all of the first half of this fight, trigger a cutscene within the cutscene, make the health bar not spawn, and also Mongoose being very confused as what is happening. The bad news, however, is since I have missed that trick, I now have very little ammunition, so I'll need to, I guess, be a bit more creative with the end here. By placing us very specifically behind this ladder, Mongoose is very confused. He tries to shoot at us, but as long as he doesn't have direct sight to us, he can't shoot. And therefore he also can't start moving in any other direction. I will start to use assault rifle grenades to make this more optimal. But he will just stand there, not understanding what is going on, as 13 has just vanished before his eyes as he is hiding behind a ladder. Yeah, making this fight, which would normally be very difficult, very consistent. That nade I have completely missed. I will again do the last bit of health damage with the Uzis. He is walking to his death, and we have ended this run with 8 HP. That final fight was an absolute mess. There was a lot of things that could have went way better. I've lost probably around a minute, but it's fine. We have survived, and we have successfully apparently saved the world. I haven't really paid attention. I was too busy hearing people say Alame. But yeah, this is it. There is only one level between us and the end of this run, which also marks time. And that is just one and a half minutes of just walking around, listening to people, being happy that we have saved the world. Yeah, final typical level. I will start to give my shoutouts right now. I would like to thank, first and foremost, Erkenste. I have mentioned him before as the world record holder of this run from 2018 until now. I have actually made him start playing the game, and I didn't expect him to, first of all, take the world record from me when I had it for a week, and then never giving it away again. He also made most of the resources that makes learning this game easier than ever. There is a couple of videos explaining the most important tricks by him in very short videos, done very exceptionally. And he also wrote multiple documents explaining all of the strats in the game, what resources you need for them, what risks are associated with them, how much time they save, and how easy they are to do in a spreadsheet, along with other spreadsheets like where each document in the game is that you could route into your run. I would like to thank the restreams that are currently probably commentating over me. Specifically, the French restream right now has a former 13 runner, Chow, doing the commentary for me. He has done the research that made the runs of Leios so impossible to beat in the early days. And his research is still important to this day. So I am especially thankful for him for still being in this community and commentating my run as we speak. So, Chow, if you're listening in, merci beaucoup. Oh fuck, I forgot the rest. Merci beaucoup. I can't hear through the headset, sorry. Thank you for your commentary, Chow. I learned it in French and I forgot it immediately. And yeah, also the German restream. I am normally part of that when I usually am with these events. I hope you guys are doing well. Bummel an euch, liebe German-Leute. We have now time. So yeah, this is a good time for a marathon run. I definitely lost the majority of that time in that final fight. However, I am just thankful that this run was as good of a showcase as I think, or as I hope it was. If you're interested in this game, you can literally get it for $5 on Steam. It has never been easier to get. And if you want more of this game, there are many resources that will help you with learning this run. If you have any questions, there are resources documenting everything, and any question in our speedrunning Discord will be answered immediately, probably by the Kenster, or by me, or anyone else checking it in right now. That was it from me. Thank you, dear gentlemen in the back, making this one hell of a ride. I love all of you. And I would like to thank you, dear listeners, for still being here. Have fun with the rest of ESA. I'll see you soon. Bye, everyone.